Welcome to Speak of the Devil. My name is Reverend Campbell, and I have a fantastic show for you this week. Today I'm being joined by The Wedding Funeral. The Wedding Funeral is composed with Ethel Lynn Oxide and Darren Deicide. How are both of you today?
Glorious.
All right.
Well, I'm really glad to hear it. I've been really excited to, one, discuss The Wedding Funeral with the both of you, the creators. And so with that in mind, perhaps we should start at the very beginning. Where did The Wedding Funeral come from?
The Wedding Funeral was born out of a personal crisis that psychologically and physically tortured both of us. And out of that crucible came a very alternative point of view for both of us, that Pandora's box has been opened and can't be shut at this point for us. So now we're simply trying to impose that view upon our audience, which is one of terror, one that is interested in as much of the dark elements of the human psyche that we can find. The Wedding Funeral is the alpha and omega, much like a wedding and a funeral.
We really did pull this from the ethers. We also pulled it from all of our subconscious nightmare, torture. We want to share that with our audience.
Because we like them.
That's fantastic. Was there like a long brainstorming session that came into play when you decided to come together for the project? Was this the first name you landed on, The Wedding Funeral, or were you kicking the tires for different titles at all?
We didn't really know what it was at the time. We were playing with hardware. We were playing with bowls that sing. We were playing with all sorts of dead vernacular instruments, and we didn't really understand it fully. It slowly morphed, though, through experimentation and psychonautical experiences.
And we wanted something visceral, hence hardware. We, wanted something that people could taste and feel and sense with every aspect of themselves. And we experimented, and this is what came out.
Wow. Well, having heard the demo, and we're going to be playing a track from the demo here in just a little bit, but it certainly does, the music itself, it's very much like campfire stories, where it takes you from the moment and transports you to a sort of different place. This transferring into a storybook or something, where you're given views of horror, of fright, of just questioning of reality. So how do you think...
I'm happy that see, this is why we're doing this interview. We don't really like interviews or the idea of it, but we know that you're a fellow traveler and you would get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not entirely sure I get all of it, but I really enjoy it, that for sure. We have some individuals in the audience, Pierre, Elizabeth, Jeff, Shauna. Hi, guys. Pierre is asking, what are you drinking? It looks like milk.
This is absinthe.
I'm drinking ostrich milk.
Merlot. Cheers.
Cheers. It's not out there yet, ostrich milk. It does a body good.
I can only imagine the process of gathering it.
Well, yes, that's something. Those There are lots of elements of the Gothic Americana experience that have been buried, and ostrich milking is definitely one of them.
Especially since they lay eggs. It's
Mhm.
fascinating.
So we've covered how you sort of formed this project, which is a little bit mysterious, intentionally, I'm sure. Is this something where you want to fully explain the experience to the audience, or is the wedding funeral very much an interpretive exercise for the listener?
The wedding funeral's music is one that will either terrorize them or make them understand something, hopefully, about themselves. It's something that, in many ways, you described the campfire, and a lot of those stories are stories that are cautionary tales. They're songs about things that can happen in the real world through a hypothetical lens. And so the wedding funeral wallows in that as an idea. We are trying to get more, we're trying to get our audience to think about these things, perhaps, or to be scared by them. I think terrorism is a value of ours that we indulge, and our music is most effective, I think, and does what it's supposed to do when that terror is opened.
We also welcome them to become part of it. You know, and I think in that sense it is very interpretive. But it's an interpretation in which everyone is involved.
Yeah.
So.
Now people have seen our shows. Before our shows, we've handed out black masks to the audience. And we hope that that involves them more and frees them to become part of what it is that we're doing.
Interesting.
The mask is symbolically something that anonymizes someone, creates anonymity, and that hopefully also will free them as well, because our music is going back to some primal aspects of what it means to be Gothic in a way. That idea in recent times has gone to a lot of artists that are dabbling with not tangible items, and we want to go back to the tangible, that campfire.
What's the best case scenario, in both of your opinions, when your audience dons the masks and witnesses the performance? What would you like to see them do, or how would you like to see them behave, or what sort of best case scenario for both of you?
For them to behave the way they would like to, with no, you know, so there's something to be said of going to something like a punk show. Everybody's letting out their beasts. And there's no way to wish upon someone what they are. All I can ask is that they let it out for themselves.
And for the sheeple for whom that is impossible, if they handed me a wet diaper, that would mean that we did what we were supposed to.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I mean, I understand letting individuals, is there ever a concern of that the audience going too far, I guess? I mean, the wet diaper sounds pretty far to me, but for argument's sake, what would too far be, do you think?
There are no limits. There's no too far. I hope that people understand that, and if not, then we'll beat our instruments as much as we can psychologically beat them until they understand this principle.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I do play the saw, so if they come up and threaten me, I can cut them. So
there is always that.
Safe.
And I will hold them down.
Funny anecdote. I had a buddy come over to my house one time. He refused to take his shoes off, and my parents were adamant about taking their shoes off, like 100%. He refused. I told him that if he didn't take his shoes off, I was going to take a kitchen knife and I was going to cut his foot off. And he, again, refused, thinking that I was just joking. And I think in some level I was, up until the point that I actually grabbed a kitchen knife out of my mom's hand and started cutting his shin. He quickly took his shoes off. So I would imagine that...
Let me guess, he never didn't take his shoes off again.
Yeah, so
That's very true.
that is a good thing. Maybe next time, though, go all the way.
I just hold him down. That's what I needed you there for. It looks like we have a visitor. Who's our visitor?
This is Desdemona.
Desdemona?
Yes.
That's a...
She's one of my many beasts that roam my palace.
Yeah, it's cute. So, the audience knows Darren very well. I'm not entirely sure they're as familiar with you, Ethel. If there's any way that you could give us a primer, what would a new listener to The Wedding Funeral need to know about you as an artist and as an individual?
That's a very, very long question. I feel like that can't be answered until you actually see what we do, because there's a lot of me and a lot of my subconscious that is put into this. On the surface, I've always been involved in the arts, primarily visual, so I finally am able to express myself through music, and it's been a journey to see what comes out, just that is for our audience, it is for me as well.
Yeah. What? And this is just speaking from my personal experience. Was there ever a hurdle that you had to go over, or was there something that prepared you in your life experience from taking a visual arts medium that's very much, and I'm assuming, print or digital, and personalizing it and then projecting it out to the audience rather than presenting it in some other means? As an artist, was there a difference for you between the visual arts medium of print and digital to personification?
I think the only difference is I've enjoyed more, in the sense that whatever comes out, it's there to stay. There's no remakes, there's no revisions, and we chose that path. We're not in a studio mixing our stuff to death. We're not using electronics. This is what we wanted. We wanted it to be very raw. And I don't know if it's music or having this thing that we've created as an option, but that's where it's gone. And that, in a sense, has been very, very rewarding. Not so much.
I'm sorry?
Other than that, I think the creative process is much the same. Dig deep and see what comes out.
Yeah. If I'm being honest, I'm a little afraid of doing that myself. So I applaud it when I see it. So congratulations. I did want to ask you a little bit. I'm sorry?
Give you a mask.
Don't be afraid.
I'm pulling off my wall, and we can see how weird this gets.
It'll be fine.
It's the rest of the world watching that I'm a little more concerned with. Maybe when we go offline, then if it's just us, maybe that's something. So I wanted to ask you guys, because you do have a very specific aesthetic, drawn from, I don't even want to say morbid Gothic American. That may be just inertly redundant, but the idea of this traditional American was in and of itself a little bit morbid. And so the personification of just this Americana feel that you are all projecting, I want to show some photos here that you guys have. And then if we can just talk about the development of this look, the process, and were there iterations or where it really originated from, if we could.
Well, a lot of, I think, what Gothic Americana is to people, a Gothic Americana right now is an idea that has been batted around. It's used to describe what we're doing. It's not really something that's been defined right now, and there are some people that are exploring this, but it's not something that is very definitive. I think the best way to talk about it is to talk about how other Gothic trends have existed in the past, but that Gothic Americana goes back to a kind of place where you can touch it, you could feel it. It looks, it's physical, like wood.
You could smell it. I mean, it smells like rot. It smells like decay.
And in many ways, in that respect, and compared to other things that have been called Gothic in the past, this is a more finely distilled potion. This is not just it's not just a 21-year-old whiskey that has been in a fine barrel. It is the moonshine that was made by your grandpa in the back shed. It's not only something that is scares the person a little bit, but is very forbidden.
That's great. I love these images. When you go out on photo shoots, and I know as a designer it's something that you just regularly do and you don't think twice about it, but are you able to tell us who your photographer was?
That was someone that is lives nearby, and he's an unfortunate soul, but one that we love anyway. His name is Raul Garcia. He's someone who's very in touch with the artistic world, and thus someone who can create that composition.
He also knows us personally, so we didn't really have to discuss much with him. He was able to capture who we are and work within our space and what we wanted and roll with it, really.
He was one of the first people to see what it is that we were doing, and his ability to hear it gave him, I think, the perspective that was necessary to create those images.
So was there like a location scouting, or is this just the general den of iniquity that you all live in or around?
More of the latter, really.
Yeah, that was all taken around this glorious cesspool we call New Jersey, and couldn't be a better place to illustrate how disgusting and terrible this place is for everyone else.
That's one thing I want to revert back to really quickly, is the question about Gothic Americana. And I've seen a lot of Gothic music come from the States and also from Europe, primarily from Europe, especially in the 80s. And, nothing speaks more true than something that you experience yourself, and we live here, and we live in this. Wow. So why not write about it? Why not talk about it?
Yeah. Well, aside from what you've already discussed, Elizabeth is asking in the chat where you draw your inspiration from. So are there specific artists or musicians that have inspired either the tone or the aesthetic or just the general compositional nature of your music, or just this project?
We don't live in a bubble. We all have our music that we grew up with, which I think for Darren and I comes from very large spectrum. But again, I really do think this stuff, there's times when we come up with something or something comes out of me vocally, or Darren when he's playing his cigar box guitar, and only later can I start to realize what that is. Because it is like dreaming. You create something, you have no idea where it's coming from, really. And it's only after you do it that you start to understand, oh, yeah, okay, I didn't know that was there.
Yeah.
Now, there's an interesting combination going on, and I think that whenever you do collaborative things in the artistic world, you get, if people, for instance, saw or heard my solo work, it's as if I were atomized out of the wedding funeral. But this ability to collaborate with another artistic person has created a synthesis, and it's really interesting to be able to do that again, but also to watch Ethel's sensibilities combine with my sensibilities. That is really the crux of it all. And the other thing really is just the psychonautical experiences that we're interested in, which are, again, they're part of long esoteric traditions that have roots not just in Americana, but all around the world. And these roots are things that we're exploring as, you could say, inspirational points. But they're always there, and they're deeply embedded in people. And again, that goes back to the terrorism.
So if you asked us this in 10 years, maybe we can answer that question once we figure it all out and we know why we're doing what we're doing. But for now, it's really just coming from the inside somewhere.
Well, that's what I love about it. It's a very instinctual, reactionary way of creating music. And I guess at some level, maybe all music has that. But I think it's the tone, it's the presentation. It feels much more authentic in this case than in anything that you would get out of a production studio or anything like that. So that's really interesting.
Every single song on Beneath the Floorboards Covered in Feces was done in one take with one microphone.
Oh, wow.
It's the microphone we're using right now, actually.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Shit, I want to lay down a track with you right now. Damn it. So Elizabeth is asking how long you all have been playing, performing. So we've discussed this with Darren in past shows and past iterations of podcasts of mine. And so I'm really interested in knowing your musical background, Ethel. Where does that come from? Are you self-taught? Did you take classes?
In terms of singing, I was in high school. I have a background in choir. And I have friends come up to me now and said, I never knew you could sing. Thank you. In terms of the saw, I wanted to, it's so otherworldly, it's so creepy, and every time I heard it, I wondered, what was that? So I needed to have it. I needed to be mine. So I did. I made mine.
And if you know Ethel, you know that when she needs it, and it has to be hers, it is so.
I'm gonna have to take a second to digest that. I do want to make a note. Your friend is right over your shoulder this whole time. Right? Am I seeing things?
As Demona?
Believe it or not, I have many friends.
There are a lot of things going on here.
Yeah, I think they're a little curious.
I think your mind is playing tricks on you, Adam.
All right. Well, maybe this would be a good place for us to take a short break, listen to this specific track from your demo, Beneath the Floorboards Covered in Feces, and on the other side, let's talk about what we just experienced. What do you think?
Sounds lovely.
I mean, god damn. God damn, that's good. Holy shit. Every time I hear that, the hair just raises on my arms and the back of my neck. That is so goddamn creepy.
Nice to know we're doing our job.
Yeah, so they're saying amazing voice, Ethel, Darren, amazing acoustic. And that was one take?
Yes, one take.
That's amazing. So that track was called Tabitha's Lullaby from your demo. You have a few other songs with that. I want to dive into Tabitha's Lullaby here in just a second, but I want to tease the idea here if we can. Is there an album coming in the near future?
Oh, absolutely. We're in the works right now. We are going to hopefully have that in the summer.
We will. We'll have it by summer.
Hell yeah. Will, good to see you, man. He says, amazing work, bravo. Yeah, this is something that I had never even thought of or planned, and I know it's not possible at this point, but it would have been awesome to do like a live performance. But again, I understand. I'd never teased it to you guys, and you guys aren't ready for it. So, Jeff is asking, when you say one take, is that just vocals or instruments as well?
Everything.
All at once, playing and singing.
Mm-hmm.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Digital fixes are for fakes.
If you can't do it live, don't do it.
Yeah. I think that's brilliant. And again, I have to draw back to that comment earlier. It is very much this scary story told in the dark. You know, those the books that I borrowed from the library when I was like 7 or 8 or something that told little scary stories that just terrified me and stuck with me. The ideas that are generated from listening to that, and I don't know if the audience was doing it. I didn't prime you to do it, but I'm hoping some of you did, where you just sort of close your eyes and you let the music. This is how I like to listen to music. You let the music sort of flood over you, and it just, if it's good, it pulls you into something new. And in this case, it was something old. What's that?
I'm glad, but it's much worse to have to extinguish Tabitha yourself.
So let me ask you about this song, Tabitha's Lullaby. Is this an individual you know?
We had to say goodbye to her.
We used to know her.
Okay. So let me talk.
Got her out in the song.
Yeah. So the demo has some other tracks here that we're not going to listen to, but there's 7-Day Work Week, there's Room 609, and then there's Mannequin. So for all of these tracks, are they similarly inspired, as you were discussing before, where it was just sort of experiential for both of you in the moment? It was a collaborative process, or I guess maybe I'm just looking for, what is it like writing together this music? Sometimes
terrible, but mostly good.
Yeah, it's always a cathartic experience.
You know.
Well, yes, it's a very organic experience. I'm going to go back again to the moonshine. We're creating a potion of sorts.
Yeah.
And it's in that creative process that you sweat at the brow often. But if you haven't noticed, many of our songs are not exactly the 2-minute crowd pleasers. They're usually 5 to 10 minutes. We have an unreleased song called The Drowning Sonata. How long is that one, my love?
I don't know, 5 minutes, 4 minutes.
I thought it was much longer. Maybe it just feels that way. Well, in any case, we want the songs to be journeys. We want them to go in places that aren't exactly comfortable. And therefore, we have to break the paradigm of catchiness and precision. We're not really interested in making the appeal to the average person. The wedding funeral is not for the masses.
Here's the thing, too, is there's no method. There's no method to living. If somebody were to ask you in 2 minutes, describe your method of waking up in the morning and going about your day, you might be able to say, okay, I brush my teeth, I put on my outfit, I go to work, but do you think about any of that? That's basically how we write. It's not, there's no method to the madness we're living. We have concepts, absolutely, and those concepts are just the beginning, and sometimes it takes us to places we don't know exist. And you might be aware of this in visual arts too. You may have sometimes a starting point in which you're like, okay, this is what it is, this is where it's going, and by the end, when you're done, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
For good or bad, it's like, what did I just make? That's not what I intended. But sometimes it's better and sometimes it's worse. That's the same process we have. You might have a beginning, you might have a foundation of it, of a story or of an idea, or again, it could come from anything. It could come from a smell or something you heard in which you want to express that. You want to give to the world what you felt from it. And by the end, it might be completely different than what your intentions were.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know the URL was running across as we were listening to the track, but can you guys tell us where can people find you online? Because there's a question about merchandise, and so is there merchandise available right now? What forms are there available, if so, and where can they find it?
We do. We have a merch page on our website. It's theweddingfuneral.com, and there's some stuff on there, and we don't have the album out yet. Once we have that out, it'll be on there as well, but also our live shows. You know, we're always making. So we have at the last show, we created a demo. We decided to put that on CD, and we sold it at our last shows. So.
And much like everything that we do, the merchandise that's on the site is handcrafted. It's I watched for many days Ethel toil over rubber stamps, carving and imagining people that she wanted to kill. I assume that's the way it looked.
They would have been much deeper.
Yeah. But those stamps, those rubber stamps, are what are used to create the clothing that's on the site, and the clothing is all things that we found in our lives, things that are things like button-down shirts and skirts and things like that. You're not going to find the t-shirt and jean stuff from us because get some style, America.
Yeah. Nobody needs flip-flops.
Yeah.
Do our show in flip-flops. Unless your inner subconscious tells you to, and if it does, I feel very sorry for you.
Oh, yes. Mr. Flip-Flop, please do come to our show, actually.
Yes,
I would like to meet you.
Buy a pair of shoes. I'll have them.
We have wonderful saws for your feet.
That's fantastic. I want to talk a little bit about format, because right now you can listen to your demo for free on your website. You had mentioned that you created CDs of your demo, physical discs. With the album that is ultimately be released, I don't know if you've gone this far with the thought process, but is this something that is going to be digital only? Is it going to be disc only? Are you ever considering vinyl? I mean, what's the format you're thinking about?
Well, we're still communing with Sharon Zona in the fifth dimension to figure that out. We don't really have an answer to that question yet. Some of this will be determined, I think, by the very small group of people that have seen what we've been doing and understand it. I think that the feedback we get from them is going to be important. I will say that whatever we do will not exactly be normal. we're not really going to do something that you would expect. We'll see. I don't know. For now, we just have to concentrate on finishing the creative process of the album, which for us is a wonderfully torturous process.
Yes. We hope we'll both be there by the end.
Okay. Well, because you mentioned that, hope it doesn't happen. If by chance there's only one individual standing, would you still release what you both worked on?
Of course. I mean, I'll still have recorded it somewhere.
Okay.
Just gotta plan these things, you know. Off whether in the right circumstance. So the right occasion, you gotta make sure that stuff's done first and then poison them.
And if I'm gone, it was okay. It was for the best.
It was good while it lasted, right?
How's your drink, honey?
The ostrich milk is nearly gone. You have to take it all right? All of it.
Very healthy.
Yeah.
Your vitamins.
Okay, so because this is such a physically present experience, meaning you're doing everything in one take. You're performing and vocalizing in front of a live audience when you perform. Is this something that you would ever consider doing an internet show for?
No.
That would just be a half-baked experience.
Yeah.
You know, we are traveling with it. In April, we're playing in Virginia and North Carolina. We're taking a trip to Mississippi. So this isn't something that we want to keep in our local area. We want to bring it to people, but like our shows, you're part of it. Mm-hmm. So if we bring it to you, we expect you to want to be there. So it will be there if people want it. You know, you don't have to sit in your home and watch it online.
Yeah, so, I think we're making an announcement of sorts right now. So we will be in Virginia. We will be in North Carolina. We will be. Is that it? I think so. We're going to be doing multiple gigs on the way to Mississippi. This will be in April. The Jersey Juke Invasion, on the way to the Juke Joint Festival in Clarksdale, Mississippi. And we haven't quite announced it. Well, I think we just did.
Yeah, we did. It's the announcement.
That announcement just happened.
Yeah, there was a form that just happened.
So don't blink and come, because we will appear physically, and that is where the most magic happens.
And I do also want to reiterate, tour dates, show dates and times and information is all on your website, theweddingfuneral.com, right?
It is, yes. And we do plan, again, this is the beginning. So we do plan to tour the U.S. I mean, potentially within the next couple years, tour Europe. So be there. If you want to see it, be there.
Yeah.
Because, again, you're part of the show.
And we will tour the entire United States.
Oh gosh, I want to see this live so goddamn bad. Will says release it on phonograph cylinder. That would be so badass.
I will personally deliver it to Will then.
Oh my gosh, that would be so incredible.
It will be played perhaps in a way that he doesn't expect if he drops trouser.
Oh, shit. Placed on viewfinders, you know, the little...
Yeah. That's how I first experienced Michael Jackson's Thriller.
There you go.
Was via viewfinder.
Keep going back to your childhood, Adam. That's what we're here for.
A masterpiece of Gothic Americana.
I'm telling you. It was that in E.T. All right. Will is sending love your way for that comment. I do absolutely love what the both of you are doing, and genuinely hope that there is the chance that I'm going to be able to see it someday live. And I promise I will be as active in that audience as the law will allow. Whichever state we...
There is no place we'd like to sodomize more than the Mormon capital of America.
All right. Well, then this leads me to my final question, I think, or final discussion point anyway. What is the future of this? Where would you like to see it go? Is it just touring in more venues? Is it a larger performance? I don't know, a series of musicians behind you, backing you up. I mean, what is, if you could have the anything you want as far as form, where would you like to see the wedding funeral go?
Well, I don't see a lot more collaboration because, I mean, we really always want to kill each other. So adding to that sounds really complicated. I mean, but other than that, as long as things can stay real and visceral and not in some stadium setup, even if it's 40 people and it's that, definitely don't want that. As long as it can stay true to its form, I think the possibilities are open.
Yes, I want to see the audience be tortured, maimed, and otherwise mutilated in such a fashion that would be very pleasing to us, in the sense that they come out of it ruined as human beings. That is the future of the wedding funeral, I think.
You know, when you go to the Mother Museum, have you been to the Mother Museum, Adam?
No.
You see a lot of gangrene in the Mother Museum, and you walk out a little sickened. But you're glad you went.
Mm-hmm.
As long as we can capture that and continue to, that's okay. Whatever becomes of it is that. Then we're on the right track.
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I was thinking you were going to say Madison Square Garden, but that gangrene sickening is a good B choice.
I'll go to Madison Square Garden with an automatic weapon.
Oh, fuck. Not the best timing for comments like this. Well, this has been an experience. A completely thrilling one for me, being able to listen to the track and talk to you about the format and the tone, and really getting a better sense of what the wedding funeral is all about. I think the audience comes out, Elizabeth, the audience is coming out with a clearer understanding, and I certainly am as well. And if you are fortunate enough to catch them live, I want to hear your views of the experience. I've got to know your thoughts on their live performance. So please, someone on the East Coast who happens to see this, I don't know, put a live blog out, like old school there. AOL instant message me. I don't know, get like a Angel Fire website going, or GeoCities or something, and let me know your experience, because I genuinely want to know. I'm trying to pull like as many 90s or late 90s internet references as possible.
Get your cassette tape ready.
Send me a love mixtape of the wedding funeral is what I'm getting at. I need it. Thank you both.
I'll send some beta film of it, okay?
Oh my gosh. It is a superior format, okay? So, I mean, you joke, but...
That's why I'm using it.
Thank you both so much for your time and for doing this. I don't know anyone else who would. I'm certainly glad you are.
Pleasure is all here.
Again, one last time, where can the good folks watching learn more about the wedding funeral?
Our website, and again, come to a show. If you really want to know what we're about, come to a show.
Or
we're coming for you, so it's okay.
Yes. Or close your eyes and roll them back into your head and commune deeply with your inner demon. We'll always be there.
On that note, until we can speak of the devil again, hail Satan.